I repeat it again. In a particular question, we'll take up a proper question if at all we have time quickly. What we have is, we are given two elements, okay? We have carbon and hydrogen. Now if we have carbon, 80% is given, and you had this ratio is almost 1, this ratio is almost 2, and this ratio was almost 3. So the formula turns out to be equal to Na2CO3. Now another thing that I want you to pay attention to is very important concept, that's of density.
But before we begin, विजिट कीजिए iitwalebaba.com पे। यहाँ से आप फिजिक्स और मैथ्स के हैंड रिटन नोट परचेज कर सकते हैं अपने बोर्ड, जेई, बिटसेट या फिर किसी भी इंजीनियरिंग कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन के लिए बहुत ही कम प्राइजेस में। डाउनलोड कीजिए IIT वाले बाबा ऐप फ्रॉम गूगल प्ले स्टोर और व्हाट्सएप ऑन अस 7974122749 फॉर मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन।
Let's move on to the next concept then. There is another concept that we have to talk about, and that is to find out the empirical formula. Okay, we have some questions in empirical formula, but that happens after solving so many. So let's talk about, if we are given, say, the empirical formula where we have certain concentrations like you have carbon, hydrogen. Say if you're given 80% of carbon is there, and if you have 20%, I'm just solving it directly, you are given the natural abundance of your carbon and hydrogen in a particular compound. If this has 80% and this has 20%, the very first thing that you will be doing will be, you will be taking this percentage and you will divide it by their respective molar masses. Please understand the steps. The first step, that will be 80 by 12, and in this case it will be 20 by 1. 80 by 12 will be around 6, right? 12 6 is 72, so you have 6.66. This is the second step. This will be 6.66 and this will be 20. Now whichever is lower of the two, that will be used as the denominator for dividing this number. So what will we do? Which of the two is lower? 6.66. So what we do is we divide both by 6.66 and 6.66. So the third step will give us the answer. This one will be 1 and this will be around 3 point something, 3.1. So when you round it off, you have to round off these into whole numbers. I repeat it again. In a particular question, we'll take up a proper question if at all we have time quickly. What we have is, we are given two elements, okay? We have carbon and hydrogen. Now if we have carbon, 80% is given, and you have the natural abundance of hydrogen in that compound is 20%. What you do is, that percentage needs to be divided by their respective molar masses. So for carbon it is 80 by 12 and for hydrogen it is 20 by 1. And then when you take the ratios, whatever ratio you get, take it in decimals, and when you are taking it in decimals, divide it by the lower number. Which of the two is lower? 6.66. So we divide both of them by 6.66. So in this case we get the ratio as 1 and 3. So then the general empirical formula, then in that case the empirical formula will be equal to CH3, that is C1 and H3. Okay, now here again, please look up. There are many things which are to be talked about. Empirical formula is given as CH3. Now if you have, say, you can find out the mass also, the empirical mass. What is the empirical mass? That is equal to 12 plus 3, that is equal to 15 atomic mass units. That's equal to 15. Everyone here with me? Another thing, if you are now given the molar mass in the question, sometimes you may be given the molar mass also in the question, right? If the molar mass of this compound is given as 30 grams, say, okay, then in that case, that molar mass will not be this, because this is the basic formula. And molar mass is nothing but for the actual molecular formula. So your molecular formula may be higher than this. How can we actually find out? That means it may be some n number of times the CH3. So in this case, if I have to find out this n, that will be nothing but equal to molar mass upon the empirical mass. And if your molar mass is 30 and your empirical mass is 15, then in that case you have is 15 ones are 15 twos are, and then your actual molecular formula, this like, then your molecular formula will be equal to CH3 times that N, that's twice, so that will be equal to C2H6. Clear with that? We'll quickly take up 2-3 questions on it. This is a very simple concept which is important from your CBSE subjective examination point of view also. You are given some natural abundance. First step, divided by their molar masses. Second step, whichever is the lower, use that as the denominator and divide all the ratios that you got. And then round it off to a whole number. When you round it off to a whole number, you get a formula, and this formula is known as the empirical formula. Another thing is like this empirical mass, molecular mass upon empirical mass will give you the factor N, which when multiplied with your empirical formula will give you the molecular formula itself. Okay, I'll just check out if any question is there. Just take down a question. I'm just telling you the abundance. Sodium 43.4, quickly, I want it to be solved in 2 minutes. Sodium 43.4, carbon 11.3 and oxygen 45.3. Sodium is 23, carbon is 12, oxygen is 16. Okay, what you have is sodium, we have carbon and we have oxygen. Sodium I am saying is 43.4, this is 11.3 and this is 45.3. You have to quickly divide them. The first step, I am just doing that for you. 23, 11.3 divided by 12, and then you have 45.3 divided by 16, and you have to get me the formula for this quickly. Done? I'm giving you just exactly 1 minute. Do it quickly. Yes, done. I put down the answer for you in this case, that is Na2CO3, right? Na, you will have the final answer. This will be coming out to be 2. Your carbon must be giving you the lowest ratio, that's almost equivalent to 1, so 0.96 something. So you can easily find it out for yourself also, 0.96 something, and this will be rounding off to almost 3, and that was evident right from the beginning itself. You had this ratio is almost 1, this ratio is almost 2, and this ratio was almost 3. So the formula turns out to be equal to Na2CO3. Now another thing that I want you to pay attention to is very important concept, that's of density. You know, density is what mass by volume that you call is your absolute density. There is some term which is known as relative density, and relative density, I am just using this function, symbol rho for density. This is equal to the density of the ratio of the density of the solution or solute that you are talking about to the density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. So if you talk about the solution also, then you can talk about the relative density, that is the density of the solution upon density of water at 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's a simple ratio of the densities. Relative matlab you are comparing it with some density. Alright, then you have the vapor density. And what is your vapor density? Vapor density is nothing but equal to the ratio of the mass of the gas to the mass of hydrogen gas. It is compared with hydrogen gas, and in that case, you know what is the molar mass of hydrogen gas? That is equal to 2. So generally your vapor density, so sometimes your molar mass of the gas is also equal to twice into vapor density. So many a times in the question you will be given the vapor density, okay, and that vapor density when multiplied with 2 will give you the molar mass of the gas, and then if you have the empirical formula you can easily find out the N factor. In relative density, because this is like the standard temperature, which is like the freezing temperature of water, generally is considered to be from 0 to 4 degrees Celsius. So it's like a ratio that is generally, it's a conceptual thing that we take it generally with in comparison to water at 4 degrees Celsius only. It's because of the structure of water also that you would be doing in details. And anomalous expansion, and there are so many concepts related to water. You have the cage like structure, ice, and there are so many concepts that can be related to this. So in general, what you can understand is like the relative density is nothing but the ratio of the densities taken in comparison to water at 4 degrees Celsius. And one very important concept here comes for the vapor density, because you will have questions related to this. So you will have your molar mass of the gas to be equal to twice that of vapor density. Clear? Then okay, we can take up one more question from here, and that is, I tell you quickly the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen abundance. Carbon is 54.54, hydrogen is, quickly do it, carbon is 54.54, hydrogen is 9.09 and oxygen is 38.36. Carbon 54.54, hydrogen is 9.09 and oxygen is 38.36. So you know what are their atomic masses? That is 12, 1 and 16. So the very first step, your 54.54 divided by 12, then you have 9.09 divided by 1, and then you have 2.27, that will be divided by, so you have, sorry, that will be 2.27. So I have just noted this down. So what you have is 54.454 divided by 12 will be the final ratios. That will be equal to 4.53. Did you get these ratios with yourself? Which of the three is the lowest? That is 2.27. That means 54.54 divided by 12 is giving you 4.53, 9.01 divided by 1 is giving you 9.01, and 38.36 divided by 16 is giving you 2.27. So here in this case you choose 2.27 as to be the factor that will be divided in all these cases. So you will have this factor as around 2. So that's 2 2s are 4. That will be almost 2 4s are 8. So you have somewhere around 4. And this, so the formula will be C2H4O. All right, I give you the vapor density in this case is 44. Can you tell me the molecular formula now? So the molecular mass is what you are telling me, that is 2 into 44, that's 88. You have to tell me the molecular formula. Molecular formula will be your C2H4O times some factor n, and that n is your molecular mass upon empirical mass. Okay, and that will be, just find it out, your empirical mass will be around 12 to the 24 plus 4 plus 16, so that will be around 44 only. So you have 88 divided by 44, and that's equal to 2. So you can easily tell the molecular formula, right? C2H4O whole twice, right? Okay, so you can easily find out. This was like an easy part, but remember that vapor density can be used. Now there is another thing that I want to tell you before I finally finish this topic. We've seen the concentrations, we've seen the relations between the concentrations, we've seen the mole concept. That remember that whenever you are balancing an equation, the molarities will be according to the coefficients, but the normality will be equal in all these cases. Then here what you have to actually check up is the final thing. If I give you an equation, say for example 2 KClO3, just let me be confident about it. That's giving you 2 KCl plus 3 O2. So that means 2 moles of KClO3 is giving you 2 moles of KCl plus 3 moles of oxygen. And if I am talking about a particular normality, then in all these cases the N1V1 will be equal to N2V2, and which may also be equal to, say, N1V1 is also equal to N3V3. So normalities can still be equated but not the molarities. Okay, one last point, remember that you have to revise the stoichiometries. In order to write down the equations, you just have to revise the stoichiometries, and sometimes in solving for the stoichiometries you may also require an equation, because I had seen questions related to this. Sometimes you may have to find out the molar mass of the gas. And how can you find out the molar mass of the gas? From the ideal gas law equation. Very good, I thought as much, but the derivation will be done in 11th standard in detail now. But remember this equation, that this is equal to PV is equal to nRT. यहाँ से आप क्या निकाल सकते हो अपने concentration term का? वॉल्यूम. और एक और चीज, this n is number of moles. That means if I talk about n upon V, what does it become? Concentration. So just remember this, and this winds up your mole concept topic. So please practice each and every question from different topics and try as many different problems as you can. Okay, thank you.